First thing you'll do when your bumper's off is slip the mounts over the front of your frame rail. They use the hole where the tow hook used to mount, the 3 tow hook holes. And I'll show you how these brackets work. For the side holes, you'll see with your bumper there's 4 of these. They come as pairs. So for this side, you'll use this one, and then for the opposite, the one with the nut welded on the opposite side, you'll use the other. But all you have to do with this is you'll notice there's this little foot on it, and it has a welded nut. You just drop the bracket inside the mount with the foot sticking out of the slot in the bottom of the mount, and then you can manipulate the location of this, and you can feed your bolt in from the outside with a washer on it. You do that on both sides. So for the bottom hole, it's just one of these welded tabs with a washer on the bottom. You just take this and drop it through your frame rail at the back hole so that it's hanging out the bottom of the frame rail, and then that goes to the bottom hole on your mount. All right, so you'll have your bumper out now once your mounts are on the truck. If you're doing a winch bumper, you're going to want to put these in now. These go through these bottom holes. That's where your winch plate's going to mount. So over here. And then also you can go ahead and bolt your fairlead plate in on the other side of this and tighten it up. So for the mounting the bumper to the truck now, you'll notice these 4 slotted holes on both sides of the bumper. Those go up to these mount vertical slotted holes on both sides. The way these work is you'll use these bolt tabs up behind here for all 3. And then for this one, it's too tight behind, so you just have to put fish a bolt up through behind before you put this on the truck. I would recommend you do that. Also, if you have the air vent assembly, you're going to want to put that in now. If you have a light bar, you're going to want to put that in right now as well. The bumper, once you get it on the truck, we're not going to do it just yet on this one, but for yours, you're going to want to pop your grill back in and just check all your angles and your gaps. You should have about a finger gap between the bumper and the body of the truck. And you can use those slotted holes in the mounts to adjust the bumper centered up and down. And then if you need to angle the bumper at all, I include a couple of small shims just in case. You can use a shim under this back hole if you want to kick the bumper back, and if you want to kick it forward, you can use a shim in between the plates in the front to kick it forward a little bit. Just depends on how exact you want the fitment to be, but you can get it pretty much uniform if you spend a little time on it. All right, so you're gonna bolt your winch then to this winch plate. You'll have it so the hook is coming out the side where the 2 upright pieces come out the front, and the bottom holes will line up with these slotted holes for these 7/16 winch bolts. And this is gonna go up into the bumper. All right, so you got the winch plate lifted up under the truck. You can get those 2 front holes on the 2 front bolts that we dropped through on both sides with a nut and a washer. Once this is in and you've got it kind of even, you can snug these up, and then we're gonna take a look at these back mounts. So if you're running the Badland Apex winch, it's one of the bigger 12,000 pound winches. You might have it come in contact with these stock bumper mount brackets. So the choice for you at this point is you can either cut these off Or you can add spacer shims in between the bumper's winch plate and the bumper itself and actually space the whole winch down. What we ended up doing with this Badland Apex winch is just one tiny 1/8 inch shim in between the bumper and the plate on both sides, and that spaced it out nice where there's no contact as much up top. You may or may not have to do that depending on what winch you use, but no big deal either way. So you can snug these up in the front, and the last piece of the winch install is the back bracket here. You're gonna slip a U-bolt over this bar. There's actually 2 per side, so you're gonna do this exact assembly on that side. You slip this over the bar. This bracket goes on 3/8 bolts with flange washers, or flange nuts, sorry, and a washer on this side, bolted to the actual winch plate, and then your U-bolts bolted up here. You do that on both sides, and then you can go ahead and tighten up the front bolts really tight. Your winch, you can move it in and out if you want to, then you can tighten that up. And then the last piece of the mounting of the bumper itself is this side mount. It reuses the stock arms that come off of the frame. The vertical slot goes up against this, and the horizontal slot goes in here. You can just use another 1/2 inch bolt with a washer on both sides. Just tighten that up. That one's pretty simple. And otherwise, you're good to go.